So postpartum has been, I'd say, some of the most rewarding times and some of the most hard times. Honestly, it's like a mixed bag because it's completely brand new. You've never done any of this before. You're learning how to nurse. You're learning how to completely be completely selfless in every way. Marriage is like one level. And then when you have a baby, it's just another level of selflessness and giving up what you want to do for his care or her care. And it's all encompassing. I was talking to my sister the other day. It's completely all encompassing. And even when you are married, hopefully you're still married when you have their baby, but when you are just getting married, you're encompassing all the things that they want to do too in your day. But now when you have the baby, everything that you want to do gets pushed aside in a sense. And only now when he's 2 months, just under 2 months, am I starting to get back into working out. And there's just a very small window for that. I used to be able to go to the gym at 5 a.m. and then stay there till 6, 7, 8. I could stay there for 3 hours if I wanted. And it was just unlimited time, me time. Singleness was unlimited me time, But it was as if you had too much unlimited single you time. Like there was just too much time, when you were single. Although I used it and I loved it and I enjoyed it, and I feel that I got married at the right time. And we had our time, just us, and that this is, I trust the Lord that we are having little Everest at the right time too. And I'm really glad that I had all the time single, and I'm really glad that I had the time with just Caleb and I. And I think I'm very thankful that I'm having a baby at the age that I am, just because there's a lot that I wanted to do in my life, and there's more that is to come, but there's just, I feel like, a lot that you can do where it's just much easier when you're single, and or when you're just married without kids, but there's still a lot we can do married with kids. And he's smiling right now. I'm trying to get him to go to sleep. And it's so funny because we took that trip, if you listen to the previous podcast, where we had Christmas across the United States. It really felt like that. We were just all over. Our flight stopped in Dallas and Colorado, and we were in San Diego and Minnesota, and then back to South Dakota, and just all over. And so, and we still haven't even had Christmas yet in South Dakota, so we still have that to look forward to. Yes, halfway through January, we haven't had it, but just one by one, everyone in our family started to get sick, so we had to put it off, just so everyone didn't get sick again, plus the baby, most of all, I guess, and just trying to keep everybody healthy around the holidays. But it's not even the holidays anymore, it's just winter. Ugh. But anyways, as soon as we got home, it was a lot of change, kind of trying to pick up routines. Caleb was changing the diapers, and then I was feeding him, nursing him. It's so funny. He's in this stage where we can't really set him down, and when we do, he'll wake up or he'll get a little fussy. He's actually on this medication we did not want to put him on, but for jaundice, to get rid of it. And it makes him sleep like so much. And it was worrisome a little bit for us. But the doctor said just keep an eye on him and wake him up every 3 hours. But he was sleeping like a newborn, and we haven't seen that in like 5 weeks. So, meaning sleeping like a newborn, like he just was not able to wake up very easily, just extremely sleepy, and he would sleep throughout the day for 5 hours and 6 hours at a time, and that's just it was just alarming us in a way. But anyways, we haven't been able to set him down at all. Really, I don't even know, we haven't tried with the medication, setting him down and seeing if he'll stay asleep, but he's in this stage right now where we can't really set him down. We have to be holding him at all times. So if I want to go, run and do some calisthenics and work out, Caleb has to be holding him. Otherwise, he'll wake up. And the problem with when he wakes up, then, he's not sleeping, and then he gets fussy, and then it's hard for him to eat because he's not eating. He's just so upset. He's not eating just calmly. He's eating, and then he's wailing his head around and upset and frustrated. You can maybe hear some noises he's making in the background. I find it interesting that you can have a routine with your baby, and as soon as you feel like, okay, we got it down, then something new happens, or he goes through a growth spurt and he starts, cluster feeding every hour or something, and we would be like, why is he upset? And we'd be burping him and trying to get toots out and doing all these different things, walking around, and nothing would help. And then I'm like, well, maybe he's hungry, like as a last resort. And then he was totally hungry within an hour of the last feeding. And so it's kind of a fun game in a way. The nights, waking up every 2.5 hours in the beginning was a lot, especially when he was upset and had a yucky tummy, having gas and bubbles. That definitely was really hard for me, because it's hard for me to stay awake past 1, and anywhere from midnight to 3. I really can't stay awake. I'm good at 4 a.m., but I'm just not good from midnight to 3. So Caleb was kind of taking those few hours to be with him and to take care of him, which I'm with him in the mornings probably till noon, and then we're both kind of with him on and off throughout the rest of the day until about midnight again. Then Caleb kind of takes over, and I'm typically going to bed. And I've heard different other couples kind of having a similar, someone is more of a night person, someone's more of a morning person. That would really be hard if 2 people were morning people or 2 people were night people in this kind of situation. And I always, wanted to have someone that would get up early and go drink coffee with me and sit out on the patio and watch the sunrise. But in this case, it's so nice to have someone that's a night person and then someone that is a morning person. So I find that super exciting and I'm just thankful for that, because if 2 people were morning people, that might be kind of difficult in this scenario, if you know what I mean. But when it comes to all the little things, like the dynamic with parents, the grandparents, and just, them saying, oh, this is what you need to do to take care of whatever, like they would say, you know, you need to put the rubbing alcohol in the belly button, but they don't do that in the hospital. Like when their umbilical cord is coming off, you know, like they say don't put rubbing alcohol anymore, but they used to. And it's funny because when my littlest brother was a baby, he's 8 years younger than me, and I remember putting rubbing alcohol on his umbilical cord before it came off, and now they don't do that. So I found that interesting. But it's funny because the grandparents, there's so many different things that they used to do with us, and they've raised kids. They raised us, for goodness sakes. So they know what they're doing. It's just either been out of touch or they just haven't, things have changed. It's almost like one of my friends and I were talking about how it's funny how raising kids kind of goes through trends, like clothes. Like things go around and then they find new science or new technology, and then it comes back around again, or they go out of it, in and out, or whatever. You know what I mean? It's almost like there's trends for raising kids, which I thought that was so odd. Like you'd think there'd be like a one and done thing, but they're always finding new ways of doing things, I suppose, which I suppose is good, you know. We have been doing cloth diapering. I'm just switching arms as I'm talking to you because he's getting heavy. It's so funny because he recently turned 10 pounds, 10 ounces. I think he's way more than that. That was earlier last week when he went for a checkup. Well, they were checking his jaundice and whatnot. I am going on so many tangents. I'm going to come back to the cloth diapering. Hopefully I don't forget. But I remember when he got weighed last week on Tuesday, and he was 10 pounds, 10 ounces, and I was like, no way. People have babies that are 10 pounds, 10 ounces. Like, that's wild, because he was only 6 pounds. So that just blew my mind that people actually have 10-pound babies and deliver them. I was like, he's way too big. Anyways, he was getting fussy for a second. Maybe I'll try sitting down again. We're doing things as we're doing multiple things here, you know. Cloth diapering. So that was always kind of a goal that I wanted to do. I knew it would be messy and probably a little inconvenient, and people always say that they start cloth diapering and then they end up quitting. And I was like, no, I'm going to be resilient and I'm going to do it. You know, it only makes sense. And we were doing cloth diapering. He's laughing at me. I don't know if you can hear him laughing, but he laughs as he falls asleep. And see, there's another thing. Totally random tangent, really quick. I was walking around and he wasn't falling asleep, but that's usually how he falls asleep, by me walking around and bouncing him. But now I sat back down in the rocking chair and he's passing out like so fast. Okay, well, everything changes all the time. It's like he's in, like, there's a mood. Like, you never know what mood and which way he's going to be like to fall asleep today. But you got to try them all, I guess. Anyways, we've done cloth diapering for probably 2 weeks. And the thing is, the cloth diapers are so bulky, and he doesn't look as cute in his clothes. I know, being ridiculous. But I thought he just didn't look as cute, and I was like, man. And then you have to, like, I'm probably doing this all wrong. I guess I was, like, trying to figure it out. We have one of those Decker diaper things and a cloth holder so you can throw away the cloth diapers. Well, I was putting them in water, like, just to keep the smell away, and waiting for all the diapers to get dirty. So I'd put them in the bathtub in a bucket I got from the dollar store, And yeah, I went out and bought one for poopy diapers. I didn't even want like an ice cream bucket that was under the sink or something. I wanted like something like super designated just for these poopy diapers. And so I was putting them in water and then putting them in the tub, just like in the bucket, and waiting for all the other diapers to get dirty, and then I would do a big load. Well, once we did one big load, I was kind of like, meh. I like him in his cute little disposable diaper because he looks cuter, and it honestly just feels easier to do it because and that's not even washing. Like, washing really isn't a big deal. You have to do it in its own load, and that's not a big deal. But like, I don't know. Well, the bathroom started to stink. I feel like I'm doing something wrong. Like, it might be different when he actually has like stinky poops, but right now he's just nursing. So the poops aren't really that stinky. But the bathroom was starting to stink, which is bizarre. I felt like I just didn't have enough water, I think, in the buckets. And anyways, I probably should just try putting him in the cloth area and then try that. That might be better. But the thing is, yeah, I don't know. Like, I just felt like that would be even stinkier. Like, outside of, like, they were stinky in the water. But maybe comment, either, I don't know if you can comment on here, but if you can comment below a better way to do it, because I was going to put it in those cloth diapers, like the cloth diaper bag. Like, there's a big bag for the diaper garbage, and we haven't used it yet just because there was plastic and I was trying to use the reusable one, but I guess that doesn't even make sense. So anyways, because it just felt so much easier to just do the disposable one, we started going back to that. And we were just going to do disposable ones when we're out and about, and then cloth ones at home, And I think I'll probably go back to the cloth diapers. We might just have spurts of one of either and one of each, I don't know. Definitely the disposable ones are much easier, but he's just looking at me, talking. It's because I'm talking. He wants to talk too. He wants to join the podcast. Can you say hi? Oh, now he's quiet. Anyways, but yeah, so we'll probably go in spurts, cloth diapers and disposable diapers. And definitely while we're home, we're going to do the cloth diapers at least. Continue on, But it is so nice and easy with the disposable ones. I will give you that. And it is really funny. People say, oh, they grow so fast. Boy, do they ever. Like, I had him in this one outfit when he was a newborn, and then, we got an outfit from the hospital, and he completely grew out of both of those. There's a bunch of them he's grown out of. I'm starting to make a pile of clothes in his room that he's grown out of, and so I had done this thing before he was here, and I put all the clothes in his drawer according to size, and all the clothes that were too big, that were like 3T, 2T, 1T, I put in vacuum sealed bags in storage. And so I think I'm going to start making a newborn vacuum sealed bag and just put all his newborn clothes away in that big bag. And it's funny because some of the clothes that are newborn, he's still fitting in, and some are way too small. So it's like there's small newborn, and then there's medium newborn, and then there's big newborn, but they all just say newborn. So figure that one out. I mean, I don't know. Just the different manufacturers, I suppose. But he's starting to fit into the 3-month well, it's all 0 to 3 months. And he's been fitting pretty well in clothes. And then I'll put something on thinking he'll fit. And it's a 3-month-old, onesie or whatever. And then he won't fit. And he'll be drowning in it or whatever. Which is funny. But he's definitely been super smiley. Every time he wakes up, he's, his arms pop up like they do, and his legs spring out, and he's just smiley, laughing and cooing and talking. And he's very smiley, very, very interactive for only being just under 2 months. I feel like, but I could be wrong. I don't really have anything to compare it to. So there's that. The dynamic with Caleb and I, trying to figure this out, you have to, I think there were times where the grandparents were encouraging us to, set him down because, as we have not been setting him down. We've just been holding him because he, demands the holding, and he doesn't want to be set down. And when we set him down, he'll wake up and get fussy. Well, so we've been holding him constantly. Someone's always holding him. Mostly because it helps him sleep. And then if he's sleeping, then he'll not be as tired and fussy while he's eating. And then he'll just get a good feeding. And then he'll go back to sleep. Everything is just connected, And we understand that we need to have time to put him down, and we were going to try during the day, but then he'll wake up, and then it's hard to get him to go back to sleep sometimes. It's almost like you have to nurse him back to sleep, and I don't really know if that's what I want him to be dependent on, is nursing to sleep, but we tried it, a few times late at night, and that really bit us in the bum. Because then he was up for 4 or 5 hours, just upset and struggling to go back to sleep, because he does have this one colicky hour, it's a couple hours, it's a time period. I shouldn't say an hour, it's just a time period. I guess I just call it that hour, but because the hour changes, but it's a few hours typically where he isn't necessarily colicky, I guess, because colicky, I heard, is unconsolable. They're just, no matter what you do, won't make them happy. So he'll be calm in between. It's just he gets lots of gas and he gets really frustrated. So he'll be nursing and then he'll get gas, and it's he'll only nurse for a few seconds and then he'll be gassy, laying on his side, and then you have to sit him up and you have to burp him or get toots out, and then he'll be fine for a second. Then you'll go back to nursing, and then he'll nurse for a few seconds, and then he'll get more bubbles. So that, as you can see, that would take a long time to get any type of real nursing done, to actually get him fed, which takes hours, 1, 2, 3. Sometimes the worst we've had was 5 hours, but we also went to the nurse, on Tuesday, and she said, you could be overfeeding him. She gave us so many different scenarios and different scenarios or scenarios. I think I grew up saying scenarios, but I thought scenario just sounds so much more elegant, proper. I like the way scenario sounds, but it's a lot more work to say scenario versus scenario, Scenario, I think, is very, Midwest. Scenario is British or something. Scenario, darling. Scenario. Whatever. Anyways, what was I saying? Have you seen that meme where it's pregnant brain mom, and that's that reel that it's so funny. Now I'm blinking on it, but the whole thing, which is ironic, but it's just, she's saying I just want to say that, and then she's anyways, she, like, can't think of it, so she just says anyways, and then she's like, but then I just lost my train of thought. I lost my train of thought again. And she just keeps, like, it's just like pregnancy brain on steroids. But I just thought that was so funny because it happens all the time to me. But I'm not pregnant anymore. I just don't know if the hormone is still in your body, or it takes a while to get out. I mean, I know it does, but HCT or HCG or HGC or whatever, HCG, whatever it is, that pregnancy hormone doesn't leave your body for a while, so you probably still have it where you're getting pregnancy brain. And that happens all the time, especially when I'm Marco Poloing people or talking on the phone with people. I'll just have that, like, brain fart all the time. It's so funny. I love the times that Caleb and I get to share, just us with Everest, when he's waking up or he's doing something new. What's something new? He was doing something new. I think he's been starting to coo more and to talk. When you're talking, he wants to talk, or if there's music, he'll be cooing along with it. There was something he did just yesterday that was brand new, and Caleb and I were there for it, but I actually can't remember. I'm blanking on it, and you would think, something brand new in the front of your mind, but yeah. So, I thought about this because I've talked to a lot of different moms, and I haven't heard of any other mom, but in the beginning, when Everest was born, he was 6 pounds, 10 ounces at 41 weeks, which 6 pounds, anything, is small for a baby, but let alone being a week late. They were a little bit worried, and he was pretty jaundiced. So they wanted to keep an eye on him. But our lactation consultant wanted us to start triple feeding him to get his weight up, just to make sure he was healthy, and so the doctors weren't worried about his jaundice, because he started pooping and eating right away, and so anyways, we were triple feeding, which I have never heard of anyone having to do this, where they would nurse for 15 minutes, then they would pump, and then give him a bottle of 2 ounces of milk. And we did that every 2.5 hours for a month, at least, I believe. And he finally got to 7 pounds, 8 pounds. And then we never really, went back to the lactation since Christmas, for her to be like, okay, you're done. So, but we stopped triple feeding once he hit 8 pounds or something, which it was great to have him be up so much weight, and he never lost weight with us, which I was really thankful that, because I've heard a lot of moms say, oh, my baby lost this much weight. I mean, he did lose weight initially. He lost a few ounces. He never went down any pounds. He lost 4 ounces initially, 4 or 6 pounds. But he immediately gained 3 or 4 back. So I think he lost, I don't know, it was 7 ounces maybe, or 6 ounces, and then he gained 4 back. So he was only 2 ounces away at our first checkup, for him to be back at birth weight, which was super encouraging. And I don't know what it is about when you're first learning to nurse. That was my biggest hurdle, because we had gotten home from the hospital, and immediately, you are learning how to nurse, and you want him to be fed, and also you feel completely ill-equipped to be able to raise a little human, and they entrusted you with him, and I don't, you just feel, Caleb and I just both felt like, we don't know what we're doing. Why did they let us take this baby home? It's so irresponsible for them to let us take this baby home, and so I'm wanting to nurse, and he's not able to get a good latch, and it's painful, and all the hormones are going, and it's just not working out, and the house is a mess, and family was going to be coming over right away, and there's stuff that I wanted to do in addition, and then, being up all night, and I not sleeping for 3 days. There were just so many hormones, so many thoughts, so many, things going on, and it was so stressful, I would say, the very first few days, because I hadn't slept in 3 days straight, so that definitely made it worse, but we kept going to lactation, multiple times in a week. We would go back to back to back to lactation, and we just had this saint of a woman that helped us in lactation, and she was sent by God to us, and we got to pray with her the day that we left the hospital, and then we just connected ever since, and she just kept working with us to get his weight up and for me to get a good latch, and she just didn't give up on us, and it was awesome. Even today, it's funny how she told us that that the babies usually have a preferred nipple, I guess you could say, a preferred side. So one side that they do better on, and then one side that they're not as good, and that totally was the case for him. But recently he switched. The one that he was really good at, he started to not have a good latch, and the one that he was not as good, he had a better latch, which I found very interesting. I would think it would stay the preferred one, because, and it's funny how one side produces more milk than the other too. I found that very interesting. One thing I found out recently that I recently asked on my Instagram, why is it so irresistible to want to kiss his face? And people are always just saying, I just want to kiss his face. And I just can't help but be right up next to his face. Even if I'm not kissing his face, my face has to be, by his face. And it's funny because I used to do this to Caleb. Well, I do this to Caleb, but I'm doing it more to Everest right now. But wanting to be I'm not close. I would always say to Caleb, I'm not close. I'm sitting right next to him, but I would need my face in his face, right up next to his face. And he's would say your definition of close is this, not next to me, as most people would say is close. But I would do that with Everest, and I read that the reason that moms want to kiss is there's a hormone that makes you want to do that, and then when you get his skin cells and his DNA or whatever, you get something on your lips when you kiss his face, and then it's almost as if you're getting a sample of whatever's going on in his body, and then it goes in your body because it's on your lips, and then it comes out and if he's sick, then your body starts to produce colostrum, which is the, if you're a mom, this, it just is the antibodies and the immunity and the extra vitamins and nutrients for your baby so that he doesn't get sick, or to fight off that sickness he already has. But I just thought that was so interesting that our bodies will, do all of that just to take care of our littles. I don't know if I like that saying. I heard someone say that recently. I thought I'd try it out, take it for a test drive, but I really don't know if I like saying the littles. I mean, he is a little little, but I don't know. Our babies? I don't know. it's almost like, oh, this is normal life having him. I don't know if it feels like normal life yet. Like, he's almost 2 months, and it's weird to think he's going to be with us for the rest of our lives. Even after he turns 18, I mean, we're still going to be never forgetting about him or always thinking about him, you know? Because, I don't know, like, something happens where there's just this paradigm shift where it was just you starting off, and then it's just you and your spouse, and then it's like you start creating other humans where it's like, dang, I like love this person so much. And I don't know, it's a weird thing to think they'll be in your life forever, because people tend to come and go in our lives. And like, I've had friends my whole life, like, in and out of my life, you know, and, you know, that's just how it is, you know, it's not, like, a bad thing, and nobody's really, like, gone. Like, you can always access them, or you can always get in touch with them anytime you want. It's just, your circle of friends is sometimes tighter. It is just tighter. You have certain friends for certain seasons, and, yeah, I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing, because you're changing and you're growing. But then this little person is never going to go out of your life, and they're always going to be there. And it's a really wild thing to think the people in my life right now will never not be there. Yeah. I've never had that before. You know, I never really was thinking when I had, like, all my friends or whatever throughout the years, I was never thinking, oh, you're not going to be in my life, or whatever, like, blah, blah, blah. I just was, oh, like, just in the moment, you don't even think about that stuff, you know? But then, as seasons change, you're like, oh, like, I just don't talk to this person anymore. And not that you're not trying to intentionally, it's just not happening naturally, you know? There's people that, when you're naturally around them, say coworkers or people at school, you know, you just tend to be friends with whoever's around you, you know. It's really special when you have friends that you're intentional with and talking with, even though you're not just in the same neighborhood, or you're not just coworkers or at the same school, but you're intentional about those people. I really think that that's special and wonderful and beautiful. Speaking of friends, I think it's so important for moms to have a community. One thing that one of my sisters told me before I ever had kids, I think it was around the time we were trying to have kids, she said, it's funny how once you have kids, people, you know, before you had kids, people would come up to you and be like, hey, how are you doing? What are you up to these days? Are you doing something new? How's school? You know, how's work? You know, what have you been doing new? What are you into these days? That kind of thing. They're just asking about you. You know, how's your latest workout? What have you been, you know, whatever kicks you're on, blah, 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 all these things. They're asking about you, and they just want to know about you. But once you have kids, it's as if you don't exist anymore in your identity, which we all know our identity is in Christ. But for the sake of this explanation, she said it's as if your identity becomes their mom, and you're not just you anymore. You're not your own person, but you're so-and-so's mom, and you're always second after the baby. And it's so funny, after she said this, I was like, I totally did that to her. Not intentionally. I remember being intentional about, I caught myself, like, this was before she ever said that. I definitely found myself catching myself being like, hey, to, like, her and her husband, but my brother. But it's just funny how I'd be like, hi, how you doing? And then I'd go for the baby, you know. But it is interesting, because now I'm seeing it full circle. With people and Everest, because you become just so-and-so's mom, and it's all about the baby. And Caleb said at Christmas that nobody really once asked him about him. It was all, how's Everest, which I understand. But it is something to adjust to. And I've heard lots of moms talk about like needing a community of different people to like remember who they are, that they're not just so-and-so's mom, but that they are this other person that has all these other desires and wishes and thoughts and things that they want to do and accomplish and, dreams, so to speak. And that you can have dreams other than your kids. And which is funny for me to even say that, because before having Everest and before even getting married, I didn't even want to get married before I met Caleb. And I mean, I did, but I was going through this phase of I'm going to be a single, independent woman doing missions all over the world and travel the world. And I don't need a family, and I don't need to be married and have kids. And that's what every woman does, But where am I going with this? I'm going somewhere, but I just had a brain fart. So, the dream. So but since being with Caleb and since having Everest, it became my dream is them. My dream is to, love the Lord and to love them and live life with them and to love the Lord and give the love of the Father away to any person. It's just my dream is to be with them, that's what it's turned into. Whereas I just have always had all these lofty dreams of all these things I'm going to do. And there were lots of instances in my life where I've already done those things, the dreams, and I know that it's still it's still we still have the ability to go do all the things, travel the world and to be missionaries and go, live in Africa and live all over the world. It would be hard, but it's not impossible. And honestly, it would be probably really good for the kids too to get a different taste of the world, But during COVID, this whole COVID thing, that is meh. There's lots of controlling things that other countries are doing in this stage of life. So one thing that one of our pastors had said when we were at Lifestyle was, your mission field is where your feet are. And that really has stuck with me ever since, because it takes this pressure off of needing to go abroad and needing to go to the nations to preach the gospel. You can go down in your local neighborhood. You can go to your store. You can go, whatever nation you feel called to. There's a little mini nation of those people group, in every state, probably, most likely, in most states, you'll have that, of all these different little pockets of people of different nations all over the world here in the United States, which is so lovely and such a blessing that we get to go. They have come to us. I once heard a pastor say, since people in America have not been going out and doing missions, the nations have been coming to America, and we can just preach the gospel just going down to the street, our own street, and meet someone from a different nation, a different country, origin or background, and we can just share God's love with them, and we can disciple them, and we can just love on them and show them Christ. And I'm excited to do that with Everest, and to just be like Jesus everywhere that we go. And that is my dream. I wanted to go to the nations and to preach the gospel, and we're doing it right now, and we're doing it but with a family. And I just think that's the coolest thing, how your heart, the Lord can change your heart, Yeah. I hope the rocking of my chair isn't too annoying. Hopefully you can't hear it too loud. I don't really want to stop because he might wake up. But what else? We're starting to eat healthy again. We weren't eating as healthy because of our living situation before. If you've watched any other pregnancy podcast or YouTube video, speaking of, you can go check out some of my pregnancy videos on the Esther Effect on YouTube, and or listen to some earlier podcasts about pregnancy and my experience being pregnant. I just posted a video, a day in the life of a 40-week pregnant lady on the Esther Effect on YouTube, and that was a really fun video to create. Just kind of like a vlog of my day being pregnant. And being pregnant is so much fun. And I was just talking to one of my sisters yesterday, and we were just talking about how much fun pregnancy is, and how easy it is, and that we could do it over and over and over again, and that it's just a lot of fun to be pregnant. The only hard part about being pregnant is that you can't eat sushi, and well, in the past pregnancy, I wasn't lifting heavy weights, so I couldn't do it. Like, I wasn't lifting weights prior to pregnancy, so I wasn't really able to do it during pregnancy. So my next pregnancy, I'm going to start lifting ahead of time so that I can lift during my pregnancy. I'm very excited about that. Yeah. Well, I'm wondering if this should be the end of the postpartum. Oh, I was talking about eating healthy. We didn't really eat healthy because of our living situation and living with a different family, that's not our own house. We had to live with Caleb's family, and so, just eating what they eat, we're back to eating what we want to eat, and I'll definitely say it's hard getting off the sugar train, that's for sure. And my diet is especially changed right now because not eating any dairy. We're going to do it week by week. So the first week we ate was protein, straight protein, like just steak or just chicken or just, chicken, like a protein and fruit for the first week. Then we're doing protein, fruit, and veggies now this week. And then the next week we're doing protein, fruit, veggies, carbs, and then protein, fruit, veggies, carbs, and then back to dairy. One of my friends said that the babies get boogers if you drink dairy, and I have not. He has had boogers, like very minimal, but a few here and there, before, and now that I stopped eating dairy, he has no boogers in his nose, which I thought was very odd and strange connection. But yeah, we're adjusting the diet, and I asked Caleb, I'm like, do you think it's made any difference, my diet? And he's like, oh yeah, he was extremely fussy the first, few weeks. He started being fussy, and now since he thinks it's the dairy, since I stopped eating dairy and just changed the diet, he has been significantly less fussy. So, if your baby's fussy, just cut out dairy, or you can try the whole diet thing. I'm just excited to eat fruits and veggies and protein, I'm only doing calisthenics right now for my working out and running, but I'm going to move into doing weights. But it's so funny, I lost all the muscle in my push-up stance, your pec muscles and arms and back, dorsal fin and stuff. I lost all of that muscle during pregnancy because I wasn't working out in that way, lifting or calisthenics. I was just running and walking during pregnancy. So I lost all of those muscles, and it was hard to do push-ups, like 10 push-ups on my knees, which is insane. I've never had that before. So interesting, so weird. Just new things, man. New things. I do remember people talking about just you have to give yourself time and space, and give yourself grace when it comes to trying to get the house clean and get yourself, clean and your makeup on and do your hair and also have the baby fed and also be eating and also be working on doing all the things that you want to do and all the appointments. And I saw a meme that said you can have 2 things, you can't have it all, which is so funny because you're so used to being able to just naturally have your house clean and make your bed and have your makeup on and your hair done and go to the gym and do all the things you want to do. So it's funny where it really did feel like I had to pick two things, and I think it's funny where I give myself goals each day, like I want to upload a YouTube video today, or I want to put his swing together today, or I want to have the dishes done and the laundry folded and put away. Like, this is my goal today. Like, I'll give myself goals each day to be like, okay, that is improving the house or improving or moving forward in our lives in one way or another. And I'm such a go-getter, so I want it all done right now, and just to let myself have grace and to just have 1 or 2 things each day that makes me feel accomplished and that stuff is getting done is a real accomplishment. To let myself have small accomplishments, I'd say, because I want it all done and I want it all done now. I don't like leaving things undone. It's very, it's like a big flashing, beaming light in front of my face, and it's bothersome, I don't know where that comes from, but I just don't like to procrastinate, that's all. That's the thing. I don't know where it came from. Maybe it was a learned thing. I think it was a learned thing from when I was in business, more so. Well, I'm getting extremely sleepy now. The sun is rising, which reminds me when I drove semi truck on the farm for my uncle's farm, he would always say, be careful at sunset and sunrise, because those are the times when people are the most sleepy while driving, which I didn't really understand, and I didn't get it, and then I experienced it, and I was like, wow, because I'd be up since 1 a.m., midnight, and then when the sun would start to rise, I'd just start to get the craziest sleepy, and that's what's happening right now. The sun is coming up, and I'm just getting way tired. I hope you understood me. I just said way tired, but, and I'm supposed to be sleeping because Everest is sleeping, but he's probably going to be needing to be fed in a short amount of time, but yeah, so I hope you enjoyed today's postpartum podcast, and feel free to follow me on this podcast or on the Esther Effect on YouTube. I would love that, and leave a review or a comment on Goatee with Georgia D podcast. I would love that, and share it with your friends, and we'll see you next week.